During the Constitutional Convention of 1787, one debate was how we should elect our new presidents. Many plans were made, but the Virginia Plan and the Connecticut Compromise gave the fundamental ideas behind the electoral system we use today. During the convention, it was agreed that the lower house would have proportional representation of each state's population and that the upper house would have 2 members from each state. Each state's total electoral votes are equal to the number of representatives and Senate members in Congress. Currently, to become president, you must receive 270 electoral votes, just over half of all electoral votes. Problems with the Electoral College are ignoring political equality, using the winner-take-all system. It promotes disenfranchisement and is just an old, outdated system. The electoral system goes against political equality by not using the one person, one vote technique. On 4 occasions, the candidate who won the election didn't win the popular vote. This goes against our own views of democracy. George Edwards, a leading scholar in political science, said the United States is the only country that elects a politically powerful president via an electoral college and the only one in which a candidate can become president without having obtained the highest number of votes in the sole or final round of popular voting. Most states use a winner-take-all election based on popular vote. The winner of the state's popular vote receives all of the state's electoral votes. If a proportional system was used to distribute votes, the elections would be closer and would accurately represent how much support each candidate has. Under the winner-take-all system, it is actually possible to win the overall election and only win 11 out of the 50 states. In 2008, Senator Obama received 222 electoral votes from just 9 states. These 222 votes really helped pave the way for victory. The proportional system is more fair. An example of this would be, let's say there's 16 electoral votes in one state, and candidate 1 receives 75% of the vote, and candidate 2 receives 25%. Under the proportional system, candidate 1 would receive 12 votes, and candidate 2 would receive 4 votes, making the results much more accurate. The Electoral College promotes disenfranchisement of voters. Disenfranchisement can happen in many ways, such as reading tests, poll taxes, and even some extreme cases, sidewalks being torn out to prevent people from voting. Disenfranchisement is when the right to vote for a person or group of people is taken away and usually used to skew elections based on its influence on the people voting and the total electoral votes. An example of disenfranchisement is the 3/5 Compromise. The 3/5 Compromise allowed each slave to count as 3/5 of a person, which resulted in a higher population and more electoral votes for the state. The amount of voters stayed the same because the slaves were not allowed to vote. Disenfranchisement has also happened to women as well. Akil Amar, an expert in constitutional law, stated, "The founder system also encouraged the continued disenfranchisement of women. In a direct national election system, a state that gave women the right to vote would automatically have doubled its national clout. Under the Electoral College, however, a state had no such incentive to increase the franchise. As with slaves, what mattered was how many women lived in a state, not how many were empowered." One of the reasons why the Electoral College was made is because it prevents an uninformed people from picking a bad president. Federalists believed that a small elite few should choose who is president, and the anti-Federalists believed in the vote of the people. Alexander Hamilton's views were, a small number of persons, selected by their fellow citizens from the general masses, will be most likely to possess the information and discernment requisite to so complicated an investigation. Hamilton's position makes sense because at the time most people lived in rural places and were not able to access current and up-to-date news. Only a few people in communities could read or actually know what was truly happening, so why let these people decide who is president? However, today most people don't live in rural places and are able to access current news. Furthermore, the majority do have a education and understand how the government works. Society as a whole is much more informed now compared to when these ideas were drafted. Electing the next president should be decided by the popular demand of the people. The electoral system uses an outdated system, disenfranchises the citizens, and goes against the principle of political equality. People today are more informed than ever before when it comes to politics and news. According to a study done by Gallup in 2013, 6 out of 10 Americans would abolish the Electoral College. The electoral process was made when most people lived in rural places and couldn't receive current news. If we as citizens can elect our state officials by popular vote, then why can't we elect our presidents the same way?